Okay, so I would like to welcome, my good friend and mentor Deepak Chopra, to the Assemblage podcast. We are here, today, and we have interesting things in store. We want to talk a little bit about actually my personal experience, I should say. It's the issue of death or existential distress or dead end alley, if you wish. We were discussing, how I was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma in the lung in September, and how we address that issue of anxiety to many, and how we go about that, and who better than you to illustrate us a little bit about this sort of existential questions that seem to abound in an environment like the one that we're going through in the world right now. So welcome, Deepak, and I'm honored to have you here with us today.
Thank you, Rodrigo. It's great to be here.
So where do we start?
Well, since you brought up cancer, and I think you mentioned the word death,
Yes.
and maybe that's a good place to start, because in a sense, we're all on death row. The only uncertainty is the method of execution and the length of reprieve. But the Prince of Death is stalking us. I look behind, there he is. I look again, closer.
Right.
So every moment that passes is closer to the moment of execution. We forget this. Some people live tragically very short lives. I just heard that my grandson, who's 12 years, lost a friend who's 12 years unexpectedly.
So sorry to hear that.
My 12-year-old is now in an existential crisis, obviously. But then there are people who die at the age of 100. But what is that in cosmic time? It's not even a fraction of a fraction or a fraction or a fraction of a microsecond. It's like a flash of lightning in the sky. Now here, now gone. The Buddha said this lifetime of ours is transient as autumn clouds. This lifetime of ours is transient as autumn clouds. To watch the birth and death of beings is like looking at the movements of a dance. A lifetime is like a flash of lightning in the sky, rushing by like a torrent down a steep mountain. And of course, the story, when the Buddha was dying, he was asked, who are you? Are you a god, avatar, messenger, divine being? And he said, no, none of the above. And then finally Ananda said, then who are you? And he said, I'm awake. He had woken up from the dream that we call this reality, that reality, the Milky Way galaxy, the moon, the sun, the stars, the physical body, New York City, all part of a dream. Wittgenstein, the German philosopher, he said, we are asleep. A life is a dream, but once in a while we wake up enough to know that we are dreaming. So what do we wake up to? Who or what is it that is dreaming? Dreaming what we call the body, the mind, and the world into existence. This has been a quest for thousands of years. Cancer. Oh, as soon as I hear the word cancer, immediately, death sentence. Okay, you have 3 months, you have 6 months, you have 9 months. It's basically a bell-shaped curve. Say, if you're in New York City, your average income is 100,000 because the average income of people in New York is 100,000. Or today's temperature is 72 degrees, but the average temperature in New York is whatever. It doesn't tell me what the temperature is today. Prognosis doesn't tell me how it applies to a person. It just tells me what the bell-shaped curve is, which is a statistical probability, Bayesian mathematical analysis. Doesn't apply to a person. Number one.
It's amazing, if I may, it's amazing that you mentioned that because, as you know, I'm very rational and very secular, and very mathematical in a way. So when I was dealt with my diagnosis in the beginning, it's incredible how science can tell you the nature of the problem, very clearly. But then they give you the prognosis. And the prognosis has nothing to do with science, you know,
Nothing.
from a biological standpoint.
Nothing.
It's really analyzing how many people like you got the cancer that you got, you know, and they
And how
analyze
they dealt with it and what
Exactly.
treatment they got and the innumerable variations of that, including whether they slept well or had an argument with their wife. All of that
And they give you,
affects the
they
biology.
basically analyze the past
Yeah,
to make a projection of the future based on the past. So effectively, what they're telling you is what already happened that will happen to you.
correct.
And we take it verbatim, you know, face value, and it's like a sentence, you know.
It's the opposite of what they call the placebo response, the nocebo response.
I love
If
that,
you
yeah.
believe it, then it is true for
It's
you.
a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's it.
I believe that the diagnosis gives you the cancer, but the prognosis gives you death.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
that's why the best dictum is believe the diagnosis so you can know how to deal with it.
Exactly.
But don't believe the prognosis because it doesn't apply to an individual.
I love that. So, for example, my prognosis is I have originally a 5% chance of survival over the following 3 years. Listen to that. 5% chance of survival over the following 3 years. However, I got lucky because science came up with a new immunotherapy 2 years ago that would jump that number up to 25%.
Yeah, but on the bell-shaped curve, you could be 100% if you were in the middle of it, right?
Right.
So who decides?
Yeah.
Well, I would say maybe you decide.
Exact. So 1 in 4, and we're going to that point. If science gives me, or a prognosis, or the mind of the world of the mind gives me a prognosis of 1 in 4, that immediately creates more stress factors, you know, and stress hormones and cortisol and fight or flight.
Which compromises the immune system, which you're trying to correct with immunotherapy.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of a bizarre...
It's a cosmic joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yes.
So don't believe the prognosis, but deal with the diagnosis the best way you can.
So how can we change a prognosis according to Deepak Chopra? It's a good question.
To understand what is reality and what is identity. You know, in biology, there's a term that's used called apoptosis, which is programmed cellular death. When cells forget to die, we call them cancer. Your stomach cells die every 5 days, so you can make new ones. Okay, your skin dies once a month, so your skin can remain supple. Otherwise, if it didn't die once a month, you'd have alligator skin, and alligator skin is hard because it takes a long time to replace itself. So at every level, you're dying all the time and recreating yourself all the time. See, your skeleton recycles every 3 months. You don't have the same skeleton now that you had 3 months ago. You don't have the same stomach lining that you had 5 days ago. You don't have the same skin that you had 1 month ago. Even the DNA, which holds memories of millions of years of evolution, knowledge of evolution, biological and cosmic, whole nother topic, the actual raw material of the DNA, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, comes and goes every 6 weeks like migratory birds. So who are you? What are you? What is recycling as what we call the body? The body is not a noun, it's a verb, it's a process. And as a process, it's a perceptual activity within a very narrow band of perceptual activities. The human band of perceptual activities, certain wavelengths of light, certain frequencies of sound, certain frequencies of what we call sensation, etc. And we lump them together, we reify the limits of our perceptions, we call that the physical world. But actually the physical world is ungraspable. Which physical world? You know, it's a constantly changing perceptual activity and its interpretation, which is a mental activity. Where is it coming from? It's the formless in you that is morphing itself into form and phenomena. So every form is a phenomenon, and every phenomenon, in turn, is the arising and subsiding of perceptions, sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts, which is the formless modifying itself into form and phenomena. Once we understand that, then the only identity we have, and cancer is a good reminder, is the only identity we have, which is absolute and not provisional, is that which is formless. Now, everybody agrees that whatever the source of the universe, whatever the source of what we call existence, whatever the source is, however we name it, depending on which model we use, religious, theological, philosophical, spiritual, scientific, it doesn't matter. Everybody agrees that the source of existence is formless.
Mm-hmm.
Being formless, whatever you call it, singularity, black hole, entanglement of space-time, energy, information, matter, whatever, it has no form. Having no form, it is infinite.
Mm-hmm.
It is not in time. Space-time, in fact, are projections of it. And what we call the physical body is a changing symbolic representation of the formless. What we call the physical body is a changing symbolic representation of the formless as human form and as experienced by human form. You have no idea what you look like to an insect with 100 eyes, okay, or to a butterfly which smells the world through its antenna, tastes the world through its feet, hears the world through its wings, has 30,000 lenses that move like a kaleidoscope, giving it a changing experience of colors, shapes, and forms. So what is reality? The only reality that is the real reality is formless.
Mm-hmm.
If it has a form, if you can see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, think about it, imagine it, conceptualize it, it's not real. What is real is the invisible, formless, timeless, spaceless, dimensionless, which gives rise to infinite dimensions in space and time. Today's theories of eternal inflation, superstrings, cosmic inflation, entanglement are in fact saying there are infinite universes. And they're all coming out of the infinite formless. And you and I are, amazingly enough, have an awareness that can begin to comprehend this, to begin to comprehend the mystery of existence. The biggest mystery of existence is not existence, but our awareness of existence. So, if you think about this, awareness of existence, existence go together. If there's no awareness of existence, there's no existence. Okay?
Totally. And so the question, if I may,
Yeah.
then it seems to be that in order to really deal with this paradoxical situation, of a terminal prognosis, let's say, that you need to find somehow that there is more to you than what you thought there was, in a way.
This body is a changing appearance, and how you see this changing appearance is a human experience. It's not what would this body look like to a chameleon whose eyeballs swivel on two different axes. What it would look like to a bat who knows this only as the echo of ultrasound. So what does this body really look like? There's no such thing. It depends on who's looking, what consciousness they're using, and the narrow band of perceptual activity within the infinite bands of perceptual activity that we are using as human beings, and then our agreement on this, that this is solid, when we know it's proportionately as void as intergalactic space. This is, we agree. The Earth is flat. It's not. We agree that the Earth is stationary. It's spinning at dizzying speeds and hurtling through space at thousands of miles an hour. We agree that this body at this moment looks like this, but it has looked like a fertilized egg, an embryo. I have a body. Which one? There's no such thing. You can't grasp at this notion, I have a body, because it's a shifting perceptual experience. You don't even have the same body you had 1 year ago. Every atom in your body has recycled since then. Okay, so what is recycling itself as form and phenomena is incomprehensible because, no system of thought can get to the source of thought. No system of science that examines experience, any scientist will tell you today, any scientist, that there is no biological explanation for what we call first-person experience. So right now I'm having the experience. What experience I'm having? Of this, my body,
Yeah.
of you, of this equipment, of these guys who are taking the thing. But also I'm having the experience of this room, of those buildings if I turn around. Where and what is having this experience? It's not in the brain. Even the brain is an experience. When I see it on a CAT scan or a dissection table. So what is it that wants to know? What is it that wants to understand the brain? That is formless. And then it morphs itself to anything it wants to experience.
But that's a big point right there, because basically, I don't know if I heard correctly, but you're essentially saying that potentially consciousness is not in the brain, in a way.
No, the brain is an experience in consciousness. How do you know there's such a thing called a brain? How do you know that? Brain is a human word for a particular perceptual activity. And that perceptual activity is a human perceptual activity. And also the question, who or what exists, is a human question. There's no other species asks, what is existence? And here's the big thing. Existence and awareness of existence are both the same thing. Because without awareness of existence, no knowing of existence, okay? What is the knowing of existence? It's what we call perceptual activity. So awareness knows itself symbolically as what we call mind, body, universe. But all it is perceptual activity which is changing rapidly and which is a species-specific change. So what is having this experience? What's the source of thought? What is the source of perception? What is it that wants to know itself as this world? Real knowing is understanding that in every moment of seeing, you become the scenery. In every moment of hearing, you become the sound. It's not I hear a sound that's already there. I don't see a scenery that's already there. I construct it. At a very fundamental level, we as conscious beings conceive, construct, govern, and ultimately become that which we want to see or that which we want to hear. So all perception is a selective attention and intention of the formless wanting to know itself as the scenery. The seer and the scenery are born in the very act of seeing.
And I believe that we have an anterior problem even to that one, which is the fact that we have always thought or believed that we knew who we were, but based on this, we really do not, in a way. So that's the issue with
We
identity,
do not, but here's the other thing. So, you have everybody trying to explain existence. The religious people say God. Okay, the spiritual people say consciousness, but they can't tell you what consciousness is. The theological people come up with doctrines about this. The philosophical people come up with what are the limits of knowing, how do we know what we know, what is the fundamental nature of existence, ontologic, is it matter, is it consciousness, is it mind? But you realize that these are totally meaningless questions ultimately, because no cause can be ascribed to either existence or the awareness of existence.
Right.
No cause can be ascribed. No. Whatever cause you make up, you get a lot of people to agree with you, it becomes the cause.
Right.
Okay, so right now the cause is Big Bang. Okay, but look at the Big Bang. I ask scientists, where did the Big Bang occur? What was the location of the Big Bang? Because there was no space-time. So what was the location? They say everywhere. Okay. Everywhere? It occurred simultaneously everywhere? Yes, that's the only thing you can say. How can you say it began in time when there was no time? What is the starting point of time? Because what we call time 14 billion years ago is from the perspective of a human being, not another species, only human being on planet Earth, somewhere in the junkyard of infinity, when this whole landscape is infinite, actually. But we are saying 14 billion years from the point of view of this biological organism with this nervous system and with these questions. No beginning can be ascribed like that, the beginning of space-time, the location of space-time. Then there's other problems. There's a period after the Big Bang, so-called, called Planck epoch, 10 to the power of minus 43 seconds, where there is no laws of physics. There's nothing. Okay, so what happened during the Planck scale? Why did cosmic inflation start with such mathematical precision, end with such mathematical precision that now we attribute the random movement of atoms to a universe which is precisely fine-tuned for mind, for consciousness, for life, etc. These are all human constructs with huge loopholes. So there is no explanation for existence. There is no explanation for that which is formless. There is no explanation for that which is infinite because it is formless. There is no explanation for why the Big Bang occurred, if it did occur. There is no explanation for the location of it in either space or time, and many other problems that we don't have time to discuss. Basically, every construct for existence or awareness of existence is a hypothetical, made-up construct in human consciousness based on false perceptions of reality. We know that our perceptions are learned phenomenon, that we learn how to perceive, we learn how to interpret how to perceive, and based on this we create concepts birth, death. When in fact the formless is neither subject to birth nor death. It only keeps morphing itself, unfortunately many times recycling the form it previously produced because it's easy to produce what you've already constructed, and once in a while taking quantum leaps of creativity as form and phenomena. Once we understand this, our only real identity is the formless, and when we surrender to the formless, then subtle intention in the formless organizes its own fulfillment. What did you...
Hold on. I would like to stop you there because I think it's very, very interesting. How do you surrender to the formless?
By experiencing it every day.
How do you do that?
I can show it to you.
I would love to.
Okay, so our audience can experience this too.
Oh,
since I'm showing
yeah,
you.
of course.
So sit comfortably.
I don't know what you have in mind. Okay.
Sit comfortably. Put your feet firmly on the ground. I'm just going to take you through the first chapter of finding out and knowing the formless. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So keep your eyes open for a moment, but I use the expression soft eyes, which means don't focus on anything. If anything, have your awareness in space right here.
Mm-hmm.
You are wherever your awareness goes. So right now, bring your awareness here, okay, in this space. And just be aware of visual experience without conceptualizing it. If you conceptualize it, your visual experience is your own body, right? It's Deepak Chopra, it's these microphones, it's all this equipment. That's your visual experience right now, if you conceptualize it. But if you don't conceptualize it, it is just shapes and colors and forms. Actually, they're all the same thing. Colors, shapes, and forms, visually speaking, are the same thing. The difference between this and this is a color. The difference between this and this is a color. The difference between this is a color. Without color, no shape, no form. So now ask yourself, does color have any location in the physical universe? It doesn't. Color is an experience in consciousness, and it doesn't have a location in the physical universe. Any scientist will tell you this, by the way. Okay? That's true of color, that's true of shape, that's true of form, that's also true of anything else you experience. Sound doesn't have a location in the physical universe. Fragrance, scent, flavor, texture, hardness, softness, this is what we experience. The rest is a story. Okay?
Yes.
So forget the story right now. Be aware of colors, shapes, and forms. And just tell yourself, I am aware.
I am aware
of colors, shapes, and forms.
of colors, shapes, and forms.
Now close your eyes. That world has disappeared. The world of colors, shapes, and forms has disappeared. But you are experiencing another world right now, which is the sound of my voice.
Yes.
Okay, so now Just like you were aware of the colors, shapes, and forms, you can say, I am aware of sound.
I am aware of sound.
And at this moment, the sound is the sound of my voice. Okay? And it's intermittent. Without the silence in between the words, you wouldn't experience the sound. So sound and silence go together right now. Okay?
Yes.
And so at this moment, you could be aware of the sound of my voice, or this sound, or that sound, or this sound. Where is the sound happening? It's happening in me. So just say, I am aware of sound.
I am aware of sound.
Now take your attention away from sounds and put your awareness in your body. Or even on your breath. Same thing. Now, only experience of what we call the body at this moment is sensation. Whether that sensation is the breath or the body, correct?
Yes.
And the sensation by itself is the only experience you're having at this moment of the body other than sound. But if you choose to ignore the sound, and do that right now, choose to ignore the sound, be only aware of sensations. Your entire experience of existence right now, other than the sound, because I'm having to say this to you, is sensation. That's it. Correct?
Yes.
Now, ask yourself, close your eyes and ask yourself, who am I? What am I?
Who am I?
What am I?
What am I?
Just let it go. But ask yourself now another question, and I don't have to give you the answer. Am I the changing experience of sounds, shapes, colors, and sensations? Or am I the awareness in which this is all happening? And you have the answer, right? Because all that's happening is colors, shapes, and forms arising and subsiding from that which you call I am. I am is modifying itself into colors, shapes, and forms, which are totally ungraspable because they die as soon as they're born. The only constant is I am, right?
Yes.
Okay. So even the thoughts you're having right now, including the questions, are in awareness, right?
Yes.
So every thought, every emotion, every feeling, every image that you can think of your mother right now. You see her face? Can you listen to her voice? Can you feel her skin? Where is that happening? There's no image in your brain, there's no sound in your brain, and there's no picture of your mother in your brain. Where is that happening? In formless being. And how did you have that experience? Just by having an intention. I said mother, and you had that experience. And the formless morphed itself into that experience. Now think of the Empire State Building. You see it? Somewhere? There's no image of the Empire State Building in your brain. Every act, every intention that you have immediately transforms the formless and morphs it into either a phenomenon or a form. And all these sensations, perceptions, images, feelings, thoughts are entangled. We call them qualia, qualities of awareness. But awareness itself is formless. Okay, so now I take you a little deeper. Close your eyes and say to yourself, I am Rodrigo.
I am Rodrigo.
Full name.
I am Rodrigo Niño.
Say it 1 or 2 times more.
I am Rodrigo Nin.
Okay, now bring into your awareness everything that's associated with that name. Your business, your relationships, your personal desires, your ambitions, your future, your past, anything that's associated with that name. Just bring it into your awareness. Let it come into your awareness without effort. All your stresses, your cancer, everything.
Yes.
I'll give you a minute to invite all the issues you're having in your life right now, good and bad, business challenges, health challenges, relationship challenges. Let them come into your awareness right now. I'll give you a full minute. Okay, now let that go and just repeat your first name to yourself. Don't loudly, just do it mentally. I am Rodrigo. Few times. Now keep your eyes closed and bring into your awareness any experience, any memory, any image, any feeling, any thought from when you were a child, when you were a teenager, or even before, when you were 12 years or younger, your schoolmates, your family, your parents. Let it go and mentally repeat the 2 words, I am, with no name, no form, no identity attached to it. Just I am.
I am.
Yeah, mentally. Keep repeating it. And now change the I am into the mantra aham, which is the vibration of I am. Aham, mentally. And just keep repeating it without any form, any phenomenon attached to it. Just mechanically. Aham, 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 mentally. Give me like 2 minutes of that, 2-3 minutes. Finally, let go the mantra, let it go, and just rest in your formless being. Just rest in formless being. No shape, no color, no size, no sound, no sensation, just formless being. And let your physical body right now, whatever your experience of the physical body, which is right now only sensations, let your physical body become formless right now. Experience it made of nothing. No shape, no color, no edges, no boundaries. Formless, infinite, timeless. And just rest in that. It is not 45 years old or 50 years old or 2 years old or 100 years old. It has no form. Just rest in formless being. And now from that formless being, just introduce a very subtle intention of the form your body, or the form you would like your body to take. Joyful, energetic body. Loving, compassionate heart. Reflective, alert mind. Lightness of formless being. Lightness of formless being. So we are introducing now 4 intentions into the formless body. Joyful, energetic body. Reflective, alert mind. Loving, compassionate heart. And lightness of being. Being is formless. It doesn't weigh anything. Being formless, no weight, lightness. Transparent body, transparent body, transparent universe. And they're both one. Now please relax into your body and you can open your eyes.
Wow, that was amazing.
So this is what I would suggest you do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try it out. So every night before you go to bed, on the screen of your consciousness, it's like a screen consciousness in which appearances come and go. Thoughts come and go, emotions come and go, images come and go, sensations come and go, perceptions come and go. So tonight before you sleep, first on the screen of your consciousness, keep your eyes closed, witness whatever happened today, but not in detail, just like a flash. What happened today? From morning you got up, you went to the bathroom, we came here, we did this, you had other things to do, you made calls, it's over. So at tonight when you recapitulate the day on the screen of your consciousness, tell yourself, it's over, it's a dream. Okay? So let it go. Every night, let the day die unto itself. Because it doesn't exist anymore. It's a dream. Okay? Even 5 minutes ago is a dream. By the time you hear these words, it's a dream. So tonight, recapitulate the day, let it go. Then open your eyes in the darkness, look at shapes and forms. Tell yourself, I'm aware of shapes and forms. Close your eyes. Gone. Then listen to any sound in the environment, whether it's your air conditioner or it's your own breathing, but there's sound, faint sound. Put your attention in that, let it go. Then put your attention on your body, sensations, your breath, sensation. Let that go. And finally, tell yourself, I am going to rest tonight in my formless being. Okay? So there are 2 stages every night. Dream, when you experience just the mind, mental activity. There's no physical world out there during the dream state. Now, if somebody else is watching you, their physical world is there because they're watching you and it's in their consciousness. It has nothing to do with you. When you sleep, there's no physical world. There's only the mental world, the dream world, And then when you get to the deep state, you return to your formless being. So that's the window to what happens after we die. Now, introduce the intention, just the intention, that I will wake up in my deep sleep. Just the intention. What ultimately you will see is you will have the feeling of your formless witnessing awareness looking at the body and the mind in the dream state, in the waking state. But you will stay in the formless being. The more you cultivate that, the more that becomes your identity, then every other identity, including the identity you seek for your body-mind, joyful, energetic body, is just an intention. That's all.
It sounds like magic to me.
In the formless being. So introduce the intention, let it go. I walk around in New York City and I say, that's me, that building.
But before I lose you into that analysis, what I think I just experienced was very profound, because you took me here in front of these guys, in a journey of what I felt was really going out of the realm of the entrapment of my mind.
Correct.
Into a place, let's not even name it.
You can't name it.
And
once you name it, it becomes a construct.
Exactly. And that place, effectively connects me with kind of everything there is, it feels like. And as I dissolve my construct of what I thought my identity was, in a way, is where I find this inner joy and peace of really harmony, that somehow releases, I would tell you, in my mind, endorphins and dopamine and these sorts of great feelings of happiness and joy that in a way feel very healing.
Which is the opposite of what cortisol and immunocompromisation does.
Correct.
The serotonin, the dopamine, the opiates, the oxytocin. There's a new peptide, it's called anandamide, which means the peptide of joy.
Yeah.
These are all immunomodulators. They'll be modulating your immune system.
So you believe that, and thank you for that, Deepak. That was truly amazing.
Yeah,
I wish, that
we can go further, but let's practice this for a while. Let's call this returning to the formless. Rabindranath Tagore, the great Indian poet, he said, in this playhouse of infinite forms, I caught sight of the formless, and that was my freedom.
Incredible. Okay. I'm going to try to put that meditation, together, to share with our audience
Let's
as well.
do it. Let's do it.
It's remarkable. You can really feel it.
Now we'll go deeper next time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Rodrigo.
This has been very, very good.
Thank you.
You've been playing this game of life since you were born. This is an invitation to upgrade your journey, to play your life fully. Akasha is now open to you.